Hey guys, it's me, Joey T from the Cartoon.P, and before I go into today's video, I do want to remind you that there is a great Kickstarter that I promoted a couple of weeks ago, hand-drawn project that the creator reached out to me and wanted me to show her support. I think it looks really great, and their goal has to be made by this Friday, so I highly recommend that you reach over to her page and check it out and let her know Joey sent you. All right. You guys know that I get pretty excited when anything Spider-Man related comes out. But the thing is that Spider-Man is an iconic character. As I'm recording, I'm looking straight into a picture of Spider-Man, as well as a canvas of Spider-Man on my wall. Spider-Man meant a lot for me growing up. He is a very iconic character, and even through the worst stuff that Spider-Man's been through, I try to tune in and stay connected to the web. Terrible spider wordplay. But either way you look at it, Spider-Man means a lot to me, and I was very excited to see a trailer for the new Spider-Man movie starring Tom Holland because, as Captain America Civil War shown, this is a pretty solid Stan Lee, John Romita portrayal of Spider-Man, very quintessential Spider-Man. So I'm very excited to see his own movie, and the trailer came out, and I loved it. I won't say that I think it's the greatest trailer, let alone great Spider-Man trailers. I still think, believe it or not, Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 had the best Spider-Man trailers to come out. The movies, the Spider-Man 3 obviously is not good, but the trailers, just the idea of building the hype, those trailers did really well. Now we've just kind of like hit this standard rut. And this trailer does hit all the standard trailer tropes that we've come to expect. And I can't say it's terrible. I'm just saying that as far as a great trailer to build the hype, I think it's good. It's solid. It's great to show this character. Well, the first point I want to bring up, and I don't know if this is like the best thing to bring up, but the point is that there were a lot of comparisons to Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales' Spider-Man. If you guys don't know, Miles Morales takes over the role of Spider-Man after, in his universe, the Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker passes away. And for, I'd say, about 10 years, Miles Morales has been a well-established character in the Marvel Universe, so much so that fans petitioned to see his character in a movie. Now, I don't know how that would be able to work out because a character with 10 years of comic book portrayal versus a character with 50 years comic book portrayal, it's going to be portrayed differently, especially when you're thinking about something big. I'm all for seeing different interpretations of the character, but me personally, I'm not too familiar with Miles Morales. I haven't read a lot of comics with Miles Morales. In fact, the only time I ever really read a comic with Miles in it was Spider-Verse. Very good comic book series. All I know is that he's playing a bigger role in the Marvel Universe as due part to Secret Wars. But either way you look at it, big character. And what a lot of people found annoying throughout this trailer is that there were a lot of parallels to Miles Morales. When I first saw this trailer, I had no idea why Peter Parker was hanging out with this fat Asian character kid. I was like, wait, is that going to be like a character? Is that going to be Harry? Is Harry going to be a fat Asian kid? I was like, well, whatever. But as I found out through research, it's another character that they recasted to different ethnicity. And I didn't mind it so much, but what a lot of people brought up is that it's a character that directly parallels another character from Ultimate Spider-Man, which is Genki. And even for what most people bring up, there are a lot of parallels to this character. Don't get me wrong, Ultimate Spider-Man movies have made their way into the Spider-Man movies while combining qualities of both Ultimate and the 616 Spider-Man. It goes as far back to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies. All I think, though, is that because it's a different character and it's a different take on Spider-Man, what people would want to see was its own thing, and I think I could see why people are upset about it. I think it looks kind of cool. I think it's an interesting dynamic to have Spider-Man have this sidekick character. But, I'll see how it turns out. So when I say Tony Stark's surrogate dad, I'm specifically mentioning what a lot of people are worried about, which is Tony Stark going to be mentoring Spider-Man? And to that I say, I wouldn't really say mentoring. I don't know how entirely 100% I feel about Tony Stark giving Spider-Man his iconic suit. I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, that's where it puts me in this weird feeling because I'm fine with it because in the comics, Tony Stark has made costumes for Spider-Man iconically, or specifically speaking, the Iron Spider suit from the other storyline. So as far as like Tony Stark helping out Spider-Man, I have no problem with that. People are concerned because he's taking on a fatherly role for Spider-Man. But I don't really see it that way, mostly because I read a lot of Spider-Man comic books, and I know that Spider-Man has not done everything by himself. In fact, he's always seen the alliance of the Fantastic Four. In fact, his first comic book appearance, he goes to the Fantastic Four for help. So in essence, Spider-Man teaming up with other characters has always been core and essential to this character, which is why a lot of people did petition for Spider-Man to be in the MCU, because it is so ideal to his characters are his team-ups. Am I saying that he's great with other characters? I mean, not specifically, but I think a lot of great stories have come out of Spider-Man teaming up with other characters. So in essence, that's how I view this movie, as an Iron Man Spider-Man team-up, not necessarily Tony Stark taking all the credit away from Spider-Man. Do I think he's going to show up more in the movie as much as he does in this trailer? Probably not, but I think it's pretty substantial, and it's pretty funny seeing both of them interact with each other because they do have this good chemistry. The problem with Spider-Man movies ever since Spider-Man 3 is that they fit in way too many villains. And from what I gathered from this trailer is that there are a couple of villains in this trailer. You have Shocker, who's the C-class Spider-Man villain, the stereotypical C-class Spider-Man villain that you think of. Then there's the Tinkerer, which is another, I'd say a little bit higher than a C-class villain. We don't see him in the trailer per se, but I think we do see his technology. But then a bigger, more iconic Spider-Man villain, of course, is the Vulture, being played by Michael Keaton, who I guess is now reprising his role as a Birdman. I know a lot of people have been bringing that up. But as far as like these Spider-Man villains compared to Spider-Man villains that take up a big portion of the movie in the other films like 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2, is that I feel like in this movie they're trying to connect them more together as like this syndicate, and there's more of a central goal to all these characters being put in here, as opposed to just there was no direction with having the Spider-Man villains in Spider-Man 3 or even Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was just too ambitious. They tried to do too many things at once, but I think they're more focused on this group of villains, and I think it looks pretty good. The big thing that really made me love this trailer is Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I grew up loving Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man because he captured that quality of Spider-Man that he was not like sure out, always cracking jokes, but he had this confidence when he was in the mask. But when he takes off the mask, he's like a complete mess. He has a hard time with his life, and he's an insecure mess. That's what I loved about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But I think what a lot of people are now realizing is that when he was playing Spider-Man, he was playing it as a guy going on to his 30s. So it was really weird to see this guy who is acting like a teenage boy in a body of a 30-year-old. And I think that's what a lot of people don't like. But me personally, I saw the character, and that's how good his performance was for me. And the idea is that with Tom Holland, who's actually a 20-year-old, 19, 20-year-old teenage boy, I consider that the teenage adolescence group. To me, that's better because I feel like he can portray everything Tobey was doing, but in that body, and maybe even just crack some more jokes, have a little bit more confidence under the mask. One of my favorite moments in the trailer is when he's taking down those robbers, and he does basically the same thing Garfield Spider-Man did in The Amazing Spider-Man, which is he's sort of like taking down this carjacker. But the thing is that when he's doing it, it comes across like he's this arrogant, dare I say it, arrogant douche. Whereas in Tom Holland's case, after he's done, messing around with these robbers, he finishes and he's like, whoa, that's awesome. Like, he doesn't even realize his capabilities. Like, underneath him, it's a mask. It's a facade. It's a facade. Facade, whatever. It's a facade. It's not how he truly feels. It's what he wants to be. Spider-Man is everything he wants to be that he doesn't even realize. Hence the whole idea of great power and responsibility balancing between the two. And the fact that Tom Holland gets it so well, and we haven't even seen him in a full performance, and this is just coming off of a trailer and a little bit in Civil War, really makes me optimistic about him. I'm really down with his performance. He looks the part. I mean, when I see him in the costume, all I'm thinking about is the John Romita Jr. Spider-Man. And the fact that, as I gushed about my reactions to the teaser, was that he's got the spider wings. He's got the iconic Ditko spider wings. I mean, briefly, I don't know. He's going to be wearing his original hoodie suit for some part of the film, probably in flashbacks, and then switching over to the other. But I think it's pretty cool. I mean, either way you look at it, he acts the role, he fits the role, and he looks the role. To me, that's Spider-Man. I look at that, I see the trailer, I'm like, boom, that's Spider-Man. Final point that a lot of people have not brought up in this trailer that I think is still worth bringing up are the locations. I love the fact that these locations are really focused in Queens, whereas instead of going to like, Manhattan where he's fighting all the crimes, it makes more sense for Peter Parker to be focusing in his own radius. And I like that they have specific things that feel very specific to like the Triborough State, Queens, and Staten Island. The Staten Island Ferry, at the end of the trailer, Spider-Man is saving a whole bunch of Staten Islanders. I think that's awesome because, hey, I grew up riding the Staten Island Ferry. To see Spider-Man do that is just friggin' awesome. So yeah, seeing all those locations focused in like one central area is very good. It's very cool. And I also think it's kind of cool that he's going to be going into DC, which is to say that he has an opportunity to travel a little bit more because in the other Spider-Man movies, we really didn't get to see that. Everything was just sort of contained to New York City. So to see Spider-Man go into different locations, I mean, yeah, we saw him go to Germany to fight with some of the Avengers, but now to see him go into different locations as opposed to just staying in Queens or New York City is pretty cool. I like to see him branch out a little bit, and seeing him in DC also gets his name out in the Marvel Universe. And honestly, it's just really cool. So either way you look at it, this trailer was awesome. I loved it. Probably not as good as like all the great Spider-Man trailers. There's some things like I mentioned, the Miles Morales comparisons that were kind of daunting that people brought up that I kind of agree with as well. But either way you look at it, I think that this is a very promising looking film. I love Spider-Man. I love what they're doing, and it just makes me feel so good to see Marvel and Sony working together to make a movie for a character that really deserves it. Comment below. Let me know what you think. I had a lot of fun filming these videos, but they take time and effort, so see if you could donate a little, join my Patreon page, subscribe to my channel, little things like that. You don't even need to like go far out. I'm not asking for like millions of dollars, guys. Just, like a simple shout out, or, a video response, or, just getting my word out really helps me out a little bit. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you later. Take care.